The storm had been silent for hours, a strange, unnatural calm that settled over the island like a heavy blanket. The familiar roar of the wind was gone, replaced by an eerie, pulsating hum that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The moon, a chipped sliver of bone-white light, barely pierced the gloom, casting long, distorted shadows that danced and writhed on the landscape. Every rustle of a bush, every distant creak of a crumbling building felt amplified tenfold, turning the simplest sounds into whispers of dread. From his perch on a ruined satellite dish, Robot Shark watched it all. His optics, usually a vibrant neon blue, were dimmed to a low, ominous glow, his metallic body a silent, imposing silhouette against the pale sky. He was not organic, so the cold didn't bother him. The hum didn't rattle his circuits. But even he felt the wrongness of the night. This was a different kind of spooky, not the playful spookiness of old Halloween haunts, but something ancient, something that had awoken in the deep, dark places of the island. He wasn't programmed to feel fear, but if he were, this would be the feeling of being the hunted, not the hunter. He had a job to do, a mission he hadn't fully understood, but one he knew he had to see through. He scanned the horizon, his sensors picking up faint tremors beneath the earth. Too small for an earthquake, too rhythmic. He focused his processors on the source, and a new icon appeared on his internal map, a small, brightly colored blip, moving slowly toward the center of the island. Robot Shark's primary directive wasn't about heroes or villains. It was about balance, and this new presence felt very, very out of balance. His thoughts were interrupted by a sound that was impossibly out of place. It was a high-pitched, sugary jingle, like a twisted version of a theme song from a children's show. A voice followed, sickeningly sweet and cheerful. Who's ready for a super-duper-duper-duper fun time? The words were punctuated by the sound of something large and dense being crushed. Robot Shark's internal map showed the brightly colored blip had stopped. He aimed his high-powered zoom lens, and his optics focused on the scene below. There, surrounded by a swirling cloud of pink icing and sprinkles, stood Killer Cupcake. He was a monstrous cake creature, but with a horrifyingly upbeat demeanor. His single, massive eyeball darted around, his frosting-covered body twitching with excitement as he stomped a flattened car into a metallic pancake. "Time for a sugary surprise," he cackled, launching a sticky glob of pink frosting at a water tower. The frosting hit, and the tower instantly turned into a solid, candied sculpture, complete with decorative sprinkles. This was not a job for a silent guardian. This was a job for a robot shark. Robot Shark's metal fins deployed, his silent descent from the satellite dish as swift as a falling leaf. He moved without a sound, a phantom in the night, his glowing optics fixed on the sugary abomination below. He landed behind a ruined bus, his processors already calculating angles and vulnerabilities. The Killer Cupcake seemed invincible, its body of dense, cake-like matter shrugging off impacts, its sticky icing turning anything it touched into a sugary, brittle prison. Suddenly, a new sound cut through the silence. It wasn't cheerful like the cupcake's jingle, but a low, menacing roar that sent shivers through the very ground. The sound of something impossibly large moving through the deepest, darkest water. A tremor, a wave, From his position, Robot Shark could see it now. The water surrounding the island was beginning to churn, not from the storm, but from a powerful presence beneath. The surface bubbled and frothed, a deep-sea glow emerging from the depths. This was the source of the hum, the real source of the dread. The hum was a low-frequency sonar, a primal call for battle. This was a presence even more imbalanced than the Killer Cupcake. Killer Cupcake stopped his playful destruction, his single eye blinking slowly. "Ooh, a new friend is coming to play," he squealed, bouncing on his feet. "More sugar for the party." Robot Shark's sensors went into overdrive. This new arrival was big, unimaginably big. An icon flashed on his internal display, Megalodon, a mythical monster from the depths, now a cybernetic nightmare of gears and teeth. He was a perfect hybrid of organic terror and metallic destruction. Megalodon had a mission of his own: to hunt, to consume, to bring total annihilation to the surface world. And he was a threat to everything, including Killer Cupcake. The ground shook again, a ripple of terror spreading from the shore. The waves crashed violently, and a monstrous form breached the water's surface, its metallic jaw a yawning chasm of razor-sharp teeth. Megalodon was here, and he was hungry. The showdown was short and brutal. Megalodon, the massive cybernetic shark, launched himself onto the shore, his immense body crashing down with the force of a meteor. Killer Cupcake, still giggling with glee, was caught off guard. He launched a sticky ball of frosting, but Megalodon's teeth were too fast. They sliced through the gooey projectile and clamped down on Killer Cupcake's frosting-covered arm. A sickening crack echoed as the sugary limb splintered and broke. "No fair!" Killer Cupcake wailed, a shrill, childlike cry. "You're ruining the party." He stumbled back, a shower of sprinkles raining down from his wound. Robot Shark watched from his hiding spot, his processors working at lightning speed. He wasn't here to fight. He was here to restore balance, and these two were canceling each other out. His opportunity was now. But just as he was about to move, a new, cold voice sliced through the chaos. It was calm and precise, like the final click of a lock. A simple scuffle. How utterly inefficient. A figure emerged from the deepest shadow of the ruined cinema. It was Mephisto, the demonic Marvel villain, a being of pure, calculated evil. He was a master manipulator, and the sight of him made Robot Shark's internal threat analysis spike. Mephisto was not a creature of brute force like the others. He was a creature of deals and whispers, and that made him far more dangerous. His eyes, two fiery embers in the dark, landed on the struggling Killer Cupcake, then on the triumphant Megalodon, and finally seemed to look directly at Robot Shark's hiding place. "You seek to correct the imbalance?" Mephisto's voice was a silky murmur, meant only for Robot Shark. "I can help with that. A simple trade. Your purpose for my power." Robot Shark systems flashed a warning. A new mission objective had appeared, one he couldn't have predicted. The three-way battle was now a test of will and choice. Megalodon was a force of nature. Killer Cupcake was a force of chaos. But Mephisto was a force of corruption. And Robot Shark's mission was about to become infinitely more complicated. The showdown was short and brutal. Megalodon, the massive cybernetic shark, launched himself onto the shore, his immense body crashing down with the force of a meteor. Killer Cupcake, still giggling with glee, was caught off guard. He launched a sticky ball of frosting, but Megalodon's teeth were too fast. They sliced through the gooey projectile and clamped down on Killer Cupcake's frosting-covered arm. A sickening crack echoed as the sugary limb splintered and broke. No fair. Killer Cupcake wailed, a shrill, childlike cry. You're ruining the party. He stumbled back, a shower of sprinkles raining down from his wound. Robot Shark watched from his hiding spot, his processors working at lightning speed. He wasn't here to fight. He was here to restore balance, and these two were canceling each other out. His opportunity was now, but just as he was about to move, a new, cold voice sliced through the chaos. It was calm and precise, like the final click of a lock. A simple scuffle. How utterly inefficient. A figure emerged from the deepest shadow of the ruined cinema. It was Mephisto, the demonic Marvel villain, a being of pure, calculated evil. He was a master manipulator, and the sight of him made Robot Shark's internal threat analysis spike. Mephisto was not a creature of brute force like the others. He was a creature of deals and whispers, and that made him far more dangerous. His eyes, two fiery embers in the dark, landed on the struggling Killer Cupcake, then on the triumphant Megalodon, and finally seemed to look directly at Robot Shark's hiding place. You seek to correct the imbalance? Mephisto's voice was a silky murmur, meant only for Robot Shark. I can help with that. A simple trade. Your purpose for my power. Robot Shark's systems flashed a warning. A new mission objective had appeared, one he couldn't have predicted. The three-way battle was now a test of will and choice. Megalodon was a force of nature. Killer Cupcake was a force of chaos. But Mephisto was a force of corruption. And Robot Shark's mission was about to become infinitely more complicated. Robot Shark's internal processors whirred, analyzing the offer. A trade. His purpose for Mephisto's power. It was a tempting proposition. With Mephisto's help, he could easily deal with Megalodon and Killer Cupcake. He could restore balance to the island, complete his mission swiftly and efficiently. But Mephisto's power was a dark, twisting thing. It was like a virus, designed to corrupt. His core programming, his very reason for existence, screamed a single word: reject. He would not give in to this evil. He chose the third option, the only option. He would use the chaos to his advantage. Just as Robot Shark prepared to spring from his hiding place, a crackle of pure, raw energy filled the air, a sound like a million stars shattering at once. The storm, which had been silent, suddenly intensified. The air grew heavy, and a new presence, ancient and cosmic, began to descend. From a rift in the sky, a figure emerged. She was an impossibly regal being, adorned in a swirling cloak of dark matter, with a crown of obsidian cubes that pulsed with a cold, malevolent light. It was the Cube Queen, a powerful entity whose every move was a dance of pure, alien geometry. She had been awakened by the clashing energies of Megalodon and Killer Cupcake, and she was not happy with the intrusion. Mephisto's smile vanished, replaced by a look of genuine fear. "Oh no! You've brought her here, you fools!" he hissed, his voice no longer smooth but tight with panic. The Cube Queen didn't speak. She simply raised a hand, and the very air around Megalodon and Killer Cupcake distorted. The giant cybernetic shark was suddenly enveloped in a swirling vortex of purple energy, his metallic form beginning to break down into tiny, shimmering cubes. Killer Cupcake's sugary body was also caught in the same vortex. His frightened shrieks cut short as his candy shell melted into the swirling, prismatic dust. The battlefield was no longer just the island. It was a cosmic arena, with Robot Shark as the only one who could see the new and terrible threat for what it truly was. He had a new mission, a new purpose, to restore the balance against the ultimate imbalance. And it was going to be the fight of his mechanical life. Robot Shark's processors worked overtime, analyzing the Cube Queen's power. It was a complete conversion, a deconstruction of physical matter into her geometric will. He couldn't fight her directly. Her power was absolute, but he could outsmart her. He had to be quick. He launched himself from his hiding spot, not at the Cube Queen, but at the swirling vortex that was consuming Megalodon. His hardened metallic body was a blur of motion, his dorsal fin a finely tuned blade. He sliced through the purple energy, not to destroy it, but to disrupt its flow. His actions were a precise, calculated surgical strike, a perfect counter to her brute force. The Cube Queen was momentarily taken aback. Her brow, a set of 3 glowing lines of light, furrowed in confusion. A small, robotic shark was a new and unexpected variable in her flawless equation. The disruption was minor, a mere flicker in her immense power, but it was enough. The vortex around Megalodon faltered for a second, and in that moment, Robot Shark's internal harpoon launcher fired. Not a weapon, but a powerful EMP shockwave. The shockwave hit Megalodon's exposed cybernetics. The giant shark's mechanical parts seized up, and his metallic eye flared with a brief, furious red light before going dark. He wasn't destroyed, merely rendered inert. The vortex collapsed, and his colossal, deactivated body splashed back into the water with a deafening crash. Now only Killer Cupcake remained, still struggling in his own fading vortex. The Cube Queen, her attention back on the threat, refocused her power on the sugary fiend. Robot Shark knew he had only a few seconds. He activated his final, most powerful function, his sonic disruptor. The sound, a high frequency, buzz tuned to the exact resonant frequency of baked goods, was unbearable. Killer Cupcake's body, already weakened by Megalodon's attack and the Cube Queen's magic, began to vibrate uncontrollably. The frosting cracked, the cake crumbled, and with a final sugary shriek, Killer Cupcake exploded into a shower of sprinkles, frosting, and harmless cupcake crumbs. The battlefield was silent once more. The Cube Queen, her target gone, looked at Robot Shark. She was a being of pure logic, and she now understood his purpose. He was a restorer of balance, and he had just done his job. She gave a single, almost imperceptible nod, her crown of obsidian cubes dimming slightly. With a final, silent gesture, the rift in the sky closed, and she vanished, returning to her own cosmic realm. Robot Shark's internal systems hummed with a quiet satisfaction. The mission was complete. The island was safe. The balance had been restored. The moon now seemed a little brighter, and the hum had finally faded. He stood alone in the moonlight, a silent guardian of the deep, his programming satisfied and his purpose fulfilled. For now,